How you doing, everybody? Hey, Caesar, Rancher, Paul Burns, how are you? Aldo, hi, Aldo. Let's see, Paul, as an appreciator of all watch brands, irrespective of whether or not they are, to my subjective taste, I can't suggest any likely culprits. Peace and God bless. Okay. Yeah, I understand that. I think sort of what I had in mind was almost like one of these grading advertisements and just like that's it, and other kinds of things that I just like, come on, it's something I know about. One of the things that sort of had had me going was like resale value, and like you can find a really good watch with by a master watchmaker that people don't necessarily know very much about. And so, oh well, I wouldn't get that one because the resale value isn't good. So I'm tired of hearing about resale value, because resale value often has little to do with the horology of the watch. You can have great horology and that's not going to change. So anyway, but that was mine, not everybody's. Okay. Hi, Glio. Brian, good morning. Equus, Elko, Dom. Hey, Dominic. JC, hi. Patrick, how you guys doing? Okay. Um, the the kinds of things um that it can be a lot of different things. I think, to me, I can listen to stuff about the movement, different kinds of interesting things about the movement, things that are will okay, how would you say it? They're constant force. Love to hear stories about constant force. Some people, that's like, enough about that. They want to know about something else. Anyway, okay, so how do you guys have? Hi, John. Beautiful day in Miami, 68 degrees. Here we got snow. In fact, it's snowing right now. I'm looking out my window, and we got gray skies and snow, and it's one thing I'll say, it's super pretty. Where it's sort of like a Currier and Ives print. Hi, Russell. Equus. Every watch brand won by something. Let me see if I can read what Equus is saying. I'll have to. Let me see. What is that? There we go. Um, every watch brand worn by rappers, especially Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, Rolex, and Richard. You don't like them. I don't know. I've got. I know what you mean by that. I think the the kinds of people that I would like to see featured would be the watchmakers themselves. In other words, the people who are actually making the watch. I'd like to see more stuff about Carivut and Lana Nair working on stuff, and Stephen Forsay. And they have, I saw a picture of Stephen Forsay. This thing right here, this is a green non-magnetic pad. And on his, they were writing all over it and notes and so on and so forth in ink. And I thought, I get a spot on mine and I get all nervous and I clean it all up. You know, those kinds of things. Now, I got to tell you, though, there was something, I think there was one actor, I think it was Brad Pitt, and he was supposed to be a spokesman. They have these things called crews or something like that. And he was supposed to be a spokesman for it. And so he was part of the crew. And I thought, oh boy, like I could care less what he got. But he was pictured, he went out and got a Vacheron Constantin 222. And which is just an amazingly cool watch. Now, I think they came out with they sort of brought it out again. I think the 222 has been, I don't think they've had that for 30 or 40 years. I mean, it's been gone for a long time. Then they brought it back. And the history of the 222 is sort of interesting because you can follow the 222 and then Fidelis is this weird thing that finally led to the first Vessel and Constantin overseas. And so, here's this guy that they put all of these labels on, and instead of wearing the one he's supposed to, he goes out and gets a 222. Now that guy's got my respect. I think there's a member of a band called Kiss, and one of the drummer or someone has this great watch collection. It'd be a great guy to talk with around watches. But here you have somebody who is known not because they're a watch collector, but they're known because they're known. I mean, my God, they might as well put a watch on Kardashian and say, this is the thing to get. Anyway, that's me. Okay, what else you guys got? Any brand pushed by John Mayer and Ed Sheeran. Okay. Yeah, that's something. You got to be careful about that. Who is that guy that the timepiece gentleman? My God, I'll tell you, I sort of saw that guy coming from a block away. I don't know why people really jumped to that, but they did. Okay, what else you got? Big Sal. Hey, Big Sal. Looks and quality then on reputation, reliability, important consideration. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who I respect as watch people. And who's the guy? I can never remember his name. He's the guy with the big microphone and goes and interviews people and really can pronounce his French very well. That guy I like. And at one time, he was talking about his own collection, and I noticed that his collection and mine were very similar, the kind of watches we got and so on and so forth. Basically, they were really good watches, but at the time we got them, they were more affordable. So there you have it. Okay, let's see. What else you got? Hey, Gleo. Tell you what, I'm tired of hearing about dive watches. Why the obsession with dive watches? I don't have a dive watch, so yeah, I know a lot of people they talk about dive watch. But the other thing that's related to that is they say, well, I want something that's 50 meters. They're never going to go down 50 meters. They have a wading pool. The term desk divers. The thing about divers, I think, people just like the style. They have a little turnable bezel and things, little things like that. Okay, let's see. What's this here? Oh my goodness. There were a bunch more. Tired of Watchbox relentless pushing of in-house brand D. Bethune. That's sort of interesting, David. D. Bethune is a brand I like, but yeah, I could see that. I guess, anything, even if you like something, you can get tired of getting pushed a lot. Hi, Goldfinger. How you doing? Okay. Yeah, I get these things in the mail. I also get them from Chrono 24. They'll come up with the editor's pick. What, who are they kidding? These aren't editors. They're not, they're salesmen. Don't tell me they're editors. I mean, they could have, somebody who used to work for Bernie Madoff, working for him. But editors picks, come on. Editor's pick. Oh, yeah, Brian, that's right. Kiss drummer Eric Singer. He just got like a seriously smart and really excellent collection. Thanks, Brian. John, Rolex, too much telling about. Tudor's more respectable. Yeah, let me say this and then I'll shut up about it. I was when I was working on the video the other day, I thought, well, Tudor would be a good one. Now they put all of that silicon that they didn't put into Rolexes, they put it into Tudor. And then they say, oh, and the watch is now chronometer level, I thought, oh, it's COSC. Why? I mean, the same thing happened years ago with quartz watches. The quartz watches were so accurate that they used to have a contest who had which watch had the best thing. But after the Japanese brought quartz in, they were all perfect, so they quit having the contest. I think the same thing is beginning to happen with people begin to realize is that our silicon hairsprings any good? Yes, they're fantastic. But like here we are, we're dealing with an archaic technology in terms of mechanical watches, and these guys put in silicon that had been perfected in a way that here you have this perfection with everything, and you have no adjustment because the silicon was too brittle, but it's perfect otherwise. What I'm tired of hearing about, people keep asking me, well, why don't you like it? It's not that I don't like it because it doesn't work. It does work. It works perfectly. What I don't like it is that I didn't get into this hobby to get sort of quartz watches little brother. I like mechanical watches. I like to see companies like Rolex in their parachrome hairsprings, or H. Moser and their Strawman hairspring. These, even what's it called, Navarox, I think. All of those hairsprings do a pretty good job. And the big thing is about magnetification, and plus the changes in heat and cold. I live in a house. I don't live in the desert, and I don't live in the North Pole. I mean, this watch doesn't get a lot of variation. I go from a heated or air-conditioned house into a heated or air-conditioned car into a heated or air-conditioned store. I mean, that's now, if I'm really an outdoorsy type and want to do some rough and tumble, I put on my faithful Seiko 5 field watch, and that thing had more innovations back when it was first created than most watches have today. So anyway, so let's see what are you guys? Let's see what it's besides. And I know you're tired of hearing me complain about silicon airspring, so I won't. As long as somebody quits asking me how come I don't like them. Okay, hey SM, how you doing, man? The best from Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is just fun to say. That's one of those places I like to say. Nova Scotia. What a fun place. It's like Kalamazoo and some other places like that. Or, another word that's fun to say is rattrapant. I love saying rattrapant. And probably mispronounced with French, but that's okay. Okay, let's see what's up. For me, it isn't so much the brand, but the YouTube channels that provide one-sided reviews that they are paid by the manufacturer. How come I don't get paid? Nobody's paying me. I could get, hey, manufacturer, hear that? I'm for sale. I'll flip over. I'll be like old Brad, though. I'll take the money for one and then wear the ones that I like. Hey, Bill. How's version 2 of the watch coming along? I'm a bit out of the loop. It's coming along. Once it's not so much the fact that it's coming along, there's always something. I mean, if it's sort of like the 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 creation of a watch that is handmade, right? It is handmade in both the movement is handmade, and then it goes to this other place that takes the different parts, the movement, the case, and then that's handmade and make it work. It's coming along now, Bill. Metas. I don't know. Wait, Rancher, what is it about metas that you don't like to hear? Dominic. Rancher gets it. Rancher gets everything. But what did he say? Mine are certified by Mayhoff, Bernie Mayhoff, Bernie Madoff. Hey, John. What's your view on the Tissot plastic parts, plastic pallet fork, etc., to diminish cost and increase profit? Okay, not a watch I'd want. However, I keep telling everyone about it, and I keep wanting. Hey, I'll just go out and blow $300 or $400 and get one, and that's a Tissot. What's it called? The Tissot Heritage Petite Seconde. Okay, and that watch has an honest to God ETA 6498-1. I some reason I just want to get that watch, and then every week just sort of take a toothpick for my head and put one of my eye things on and modify it. But having plastic parts on it on a plate, yeah, that's a good question. What about plastic or even nylon on plates and bridges? Forks. I don't know why they would. How do you save money on a pallet fork? I mean, those things. I don't think. I mean, they're sort of like penny wise and pound foolish as far as like, oh, I'll put in a plastic and we'll save 2 cents. You have to sell a lot of watches to save 2 cents, and you turn off a lot of people. Gotta have my coffee. Oh, yeah. Rancher. Sometimes I do that when I'm in a hurry and I'm trying to find out something about a watch. Usually, what I want to know about a watch is the movement, the frequency, and the power reserve. If there's something special about it, like a special feature, then I talk about that. But sometimes, well, it's not so much in the ad as it is in the write-up. You go to the place and find it. But yeah, I know what you mean. In other words, why repeat what's in there? I I got to tell you, Clyde, there is a lot of that. I mean, people will take a something as an argument based on basically ad copy. It's just like what? In other words, they'll take an excuse, a lame excuse, and use it as a reason. Hey, I got something for you. This and this is the Maltese cross that is the symbol of Vacheron Constantin. We also might as well take the Calatrava cross. That's the symbol for Patek Philippe. Now, what are those symbols from? Now, some years ago, there was a little brochure that Vacheron Constantin put out. And in it, they said, well, it's after what we decided was that we have this, it's a special gearing with a Maltese cross on it. And they use it for a rewind thing, something like a remontoire, something like a remontoire. So they got this little thing, and it has a Maltese. Forgot the name of it though. It's got a Maltese looking cross on it, or part of it is Maltese looking. And they said, that's where we got it. Now, this is in there. This guy, I don't know who the guy was. He wrote up the brochure for Vacheron Constantin. I don't think so. I think it's much it's much more, goes back a little further, and you see a lot of Maltese crosses in and around Switzerland. What they have to do, if you go back to the wars of religion in France, a lot of the population of Switzerland, Geneva in particular, was because of those wars of religion. And you had two sides, the Huguenots, who were the Protestants, and the Catholics. And they hated each other. I mean, they would do bad things to one another, really bad. They had this one wedding, this famous wedding, it's called the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. And the Catholic queen invited all of the Huguenots. Her daughter Margot was gonna marry, and so they'd have the Huguenots and the Catholic, and the two would be married and live happily ever after, and it'd stop all of these stupid wars. Well, what happened when the Huguenots came? They told them to put all their weapons up at the wedding, and then they massacred them. And then the wars went on. There were several wars. Abraham Breguet, when he escaped the Paris terrors after the French Revolution, he went and lived with his grandparents in Switzerland, who had been Huguenots who had fled to fled. But the point is that they came up with something that is non-controversial. The Calatrava Cross there was some battle, there was some fortress in Calatrava, but that's something. So rather than, and people just accept it, like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. It looks like that little gizmo that they have. No, I don't think so. It wasn't until there was one of the cantons in Switzerland that Jesuit priests weren't allowed into until 1971. I mean, these things go way back, and I don't know. John Calvin, who was all of the Puritans who came to the United States, a lot of them were Calvinists, and John Calvin was running Geneva, and he kicked out. He said, "No more of this making all of this jewelry and stuff. We've got to." They're a part of the Reformation. So as a result, he said, okay, what about watches? Oh yeah, watches are good. So they had all of these goldsmiths and jewelry makers and so forth. So they started making watches. A lot of interesting kind of stuff if you look at the history. And the history is ugly. I mean, really ugly. So there's that. And so we talk about, all of these things being what appears to be some benevolent kind of things. A lot of people say, oh yeah, I know the Maltese cross and the Knights Templar of Malta and all of that nonsense. Something different than that. Take a look at the Huguenot flag, and you'll find both of the symbols for the Vacheron Constantin's logo, as well as the Calatrava cross, is in both part of that flag. Boy, they really hated each other, I gotta tell you. Okay, enough of that. That's something in terms of, I don't believe I believe almost nothing that comes out of a track and a point that somebody gets up there and starts blabbing about something that they got on a commercial. I mean, if one of the most famous lines was you never own a Patek Philippe, you just take care of it. Well, now they put silica, and hey, it's going to last forever until until the spring pops, and I don't know. There are all kinds of funny things that happen. All right, let me see. Sorry about that. Okay, where are you? Oh man. Hopefully he doesn't put Saloxi air springs to their 33XX movement lineup. I don't know what they're going to do, JC. I hope they don't either. Hey, Niva Kama, how do you feel about Jean? Seems like his profile is declining. Oh, that's a good question. I'll tell you, there was one party, well, probably more than one, but there was this one particular party that FP Jean goes to. He gets drunk as a lord, insults everybody, and they all hate him, and they say, "Oh, your brand is no good." Well, yeah, sure, he acts like a jerk, but still has great watches. Um, I wish every great watchmaker had a great personality. Let me tell you who I think is if you want to equate great people with great ideas, great watchmakers, to me, it's still Jean-Marc Viderec of Agenor. Here's a guy, everybody likes him. I've never heard anything bad about him. And all I hear is that, oh my God, look at that ingenious solution he had to the problem. Like he has these little springs in the teeth of his gearing and things like that. That I, but everybody likes him. It's just like, I think they like him because he wanted to make movements. And he said, that's all I'm making, making movements and movement modules, and that's all he did. A lot of people said, "Oh, you got to start your own watch company," and I don't want to mess with that, you know. So I'm glad that he's that. Well, I'm glad that Agenor is selling us movements, and they we for one watch they actually did the putting the whole watch together, and that was our Etude number one, and they cut that out. And now they have another place that's on site that does it. Okay, sorry about that. Just bought a vintage Romer hand wound, slow speed. I'm happy about it. John, there's who is it? Eric. I forgot Eric's last name. Who collects among other things Romers. Always liked a really unique looking watch. I agree. As opposed to the wars of religion going on now. Yeah, they're not the same. I don't think they're not as. I don't know what. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not as opposed to. That's one thing. There can be a lot of wars of religion, but one place where you don't find those wars is among watch collectors. We don't care about religion. We care about the watch. I think there's probably every imaginable religion I bought watches from. So somebody they don't. I haven't been recruited to any. We don't want this guy in our religion. But anyway, yeah, that's a point. I hadn't thought about that. Hey, Velvia man, new loan jeans with vintage look, including Breguet engraved numerals. Looks good, but has silicone. This is Velvia man. I agree with that. I have a Longines uh, equation of time watch. What a great watch! Enamel, equation of time, sunrise, sunset, declination of the Earth. This is on a watch that I could actually afford. Great watch, and now they have. You're right. It's part of Swatch. Swatch decided sort of back to quartz. But here's something else, guys. This is the way I look at it. People who want to buy those watches with quartz, they'll leave us alone. Okay. They're not going to be competition for us. They're going to go out there with their quartz watch that'll last them, for I don't know how long until the brittle goes. And so that's, there's going to be, I guess, a certain kind of market. Now, they're looking for a mass market. They really are. I think Patek Philippe made, what would you rather sell? A bunch of Rudy Poo collectors or, every sucker who believes our logo? Yeah, Brian, that's sort of the Wikipedia answer to it. It's a little more complex than that, I think. Take a look, go deep into the wars of religions. It's much more interesting, I think. And uh, the Knights Templar. Okay. Hi, Truman. What's up? Knights Templar are on their way to Jerusalem, took money from local protection. That's how they created the first banks. Well, that I believe. Hey, Lee, the French learned that from the English and Scots. No red at weddings, please. Huh, that's interesting. Hey, Rancher. Oh, this time I thought the Calvinists were really into either type of jeans or the cartoon. You mean I either Calvin and Hobbes, the Calvinist and Hobbes, that'd be great. Wait, you mean the people with the decal on the back of their trucks of the little boy? Oh yeah, they're Calvinists. No, you'll see. Yeah, Maltese cross was also used in World War One as sort of the German insignia, and it's been used for a lot of different places and a lot of different ways. I don't know. I do know that it's as far as being in Switzerland, it's there for a specific reason that doesn't have anything to do with sort of other origins of it. And if you go back and you look at their, just my God, the kind of stuff they did to each other was really awful. Anyway, so what do we got here? Okay. Press coverage of what this rapper wore and who's the most bling. Yeah. I tell you, I think Miele's sort of, it's not a watch I'm crazy about. Hublot is not the terrible watch that sort of has been associated with rappers. I think that maybe Jacobs and Company, maybe because poor old Jacob the jewelers had to go to prison because him and his rappers were involved in, I think, money laundering and some things like that. But I don't know. Hey, Russell, how you doing? Some of the TV preachers have great collections. Oh no, say it ain't so. They must. They have a lot of money. H.O. Mencken said the quickest way to get rich in America next to robbing a bank is to start your own religion. Could be true. I have a new company, Elmer Gantry Inc. Hey, Ian Berger. Press coverage of what? Oh yeah, that you said that. Caesar. I was hoping so much FP Jorn prices go down after the party, but no luck. Well, they've gone down some. I mean, good grief, my residence has shot up to over $250,000, and now it's down to some paltry 150,000. It's been awful. What do you think about Ryan Gosling's gold watch, Piece Unique? Yeah, some of these guys get a piece unique. I don't know which one it is. I don't know anything about it. Um, I this I like gold watches. This one's steel. Um, Platinum? I got one platinum watch. Something that's been growing on me is white gold. I got it. The first white gold I had was my H. Moser double hairspring. I didn't even realize it was white gold because I get my watches primarily based on the movement. And when I got my FP Journe, I could have got a blue or the platinum CS, and to me I like the platinum CS better, and I think in part because it was platinum. But if I got the blue is went way up in resale price. Long jeans, roll them up at the hem. That's what I do. Uh, just like Bobby Fischer had bad personalities, he did. But boy, I tell you, he was. That's a great example. JC doesn't make him a bad chess player. Or McEnroe as a tennis player, they were terrible personalities, but they were great at what they did. Hi, Adam. Good morning. How are you? HP. To me, it's not either or. I love quartz manuals and autos. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's not a condemnation. It's a choice. How's that? I would say yes to an FPJ Elegante. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I I'm not. I like what they did with the Elegante and the sleeping sort of feature that it has to it. But for me, it's just not. It's not to my taste. Uh-oh, frying pan time. Okay, let me wrap up these down here. Hey, Robert. Good morning, John. Time flies when you're having fun. Fry. Okay, I gotta go. Dominic. Life is full of crossroads, full of choices. Polymer steer frame, silicon. Yeah, it is, and I think it's important to know about your. Okay, all right. Let's see. What do you think about Speak Marin? I Caesar. I think if you find the right one, you can really get a terrific watch. He's a name I look out for. There's some mattress, the something meters de temp, something like that. Again, excuse my terrible French. Um, and he made one, I think, with this other guy, Christian, somebody like that. But the guy's real talent. Let me tell you about what I think about Speak Marin. I think he goes by Peter Speak now, drop the Marin. Um, he's got a channel called The Naked Watchmaker. That's really terrific. I mean, this guy he just sort of takes apart watches. You want to find out about a movement. If you his movements, he disassembles them and talks about them and everything. Amazingly good stuff. Naked Watchmaker. It's just it's like a web page channel, or it's like a Facebook page. Let's see. Hey, Aldo. All right. Do you have a picture to share for Lurik number 2? Not yet, Aldo. We'll have one. What we decided to do was to wait until it came out. We may end up with one a lot sooner than that because of unforeseen circumstances. Um, I don't know how many of you belong to the Horological Society of New York. Greatest thing that you can get into. It doesn't matter if you're in Timbuktu or live in New York City. It's very much of an international. And so Larique decided that we're going to support them. They're going to be our charity, and they had a charity set up for an annual auction, sort of like the only watch auction that they had. And they had another thing. It was called their gala. Now, a gala in New York City for watches can really bring in some interesting people. So they decided to have their gala in April. The other one they had, I think, like in August or something. And so we had decided when we made the Etude number 2 is that we were going to donate a watch, and then they could sell it and use the money for they have a scholarship. That was the idea. So I was thinking August they're going to have it. But nope, I got to think, hey Bill, can you, can we get it by April 6th? And that's what I'm shooting for. In fact, what I hope to do is to get it to them 3 weeks before April 6th. The reason for that is that um, Nick, who is the CEO of Horological Society of New York, said they'd run it through they have a chronometer testing like COSC, except it's just a little more challenging. Okay. And they'd run our first watch, not this one, but the one I have in the case. They ran it through that. And he said that thing passed with flying colors. So we know or watch that, but it's always nice to have a thing that says this is certifies that this is chronometer quality. So we may have it out a little before April 6th, depending on how soon that all of this stuff is coming together, but it's coming together pretty quickly. I hope. Knock on wood. We have all of these really great parts that come in. Fiedler, who makes these incredible hands, Voutilanen and Catton with the cases. The cases are coming in now. Comblamine with the dials. Protexo with the straps, Bostador with the buckles. I mean, all of these have to come together. And then we have this new outfit that Agenor is not a watchmaker. And they told us that. We don't make watches. They did our first one. And so by great fortune, there's a company called Made, MADE, that puts watches together. They take all of these parts that I mentioned and they assemble them, and then they go up to our shipper, and our shipper ships them out for us. So it's that kind of thing that's going on, and that's keep me up at night. Okay, all right, guys, we talked, gone over my time. I'm going to get in trouble, and so, but thank you all for getting up nice and early. Let me take a couple more real quick, and then I'll be back at 4:00, and Rancher's going to have come up with a great topic for me between now and then. I hope it's sooner. Okay, let's see. I'm really not a fan of AP. They only really focus on Royal Oak, and while they're well made, I think they're overpriced. People love those watches. I know what you mean. I'll put it that way. Okay. I know. Good morning. Hello, A.A. Shaw. I have a question. May I ask it, please? You did not. We're running out of time. Hey, Robert, how many Lyrique will be available to buy? Well, 100 is what we have this time, but they're all already. There are a few that you can find that are being sold. I know of one, Robert, and there's some other ones. Every now and then, people just decide, well, they want to sell their watch. Why anybody would want to sell it other than for the money, I don't know. Okay, guys, got to go. Thank you all, and take care. And Rancher, a topic. I need a topic.